Good evening. I'd like to call to order this public hearing. It's July 18th, 2022. Thank you. The purpose of the public hearing is to provide an opportunity for the public to provide input and comments regarding the proposed City of Urbana and Urbana Home Consortium Annual Action Plan Amendment for fiscal year 2020-2021. That's the wrong that's okay. This amendment includes the Home American Rescue Plan allocation plan. Notice of this public hearing was faxed and or emailed to the media, emailed to various social service agencies and citizens, and are placed on the City of Urbana's website on June 30th, 2022, and in the July 5th, 2022 edition of the News Gazette. This allocation plan identifies preferences to serve homeless or near homeless individuals, as well as presents the proposed budget of $2,970,773. Eligible activities are supportive services, acquisition and development of non-congregate shelters, tenant-based rental assistance, TBRA, development of affordable rental housing, nonprofit operating, nonprofit capacity building, and administration and planning. I now declare this public hearing open. If anyone desires to express their views regarding the proposed amendment to the FY 2020-2021 Annual Action Plan, please come forward and be recognized. Your written comments also are welcome. If anyone wishes to address us now, please step forward, state your name for the record, and you have up to 5 minutes to speak. And I would like to call to order this public hearing. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here. And we do have a presentation before the public input.
Hello to council. It's great to be here again to discuss the HOMARP planning process and the allocation plan the draft allocation plan that we've created. Just to kind of open the public hearing period, we did want to provide a quick overview of the content of the allocation plan, some of which has been presented to this body previously. So we'll kind of discuss that quickly and then discuss the proposed funding allocations for this plan. So as I mentioned, a few of the sections of the plan, we've discussed the content with council previously. For consultation for this plan, we reached out to 22 different organizations via interview or stakeholder survey who work in the area of housing and homelessness issues to get their perspective on these issues and how this funding could best address them. In addition, we created a public survey and received 128 responses on how this funding could best be used to address housing and homelessness issues locally, as well as a few additional points of feedback from public meetings and direct emails. From the consultation, the public feedback, and analysis of existing data, a few priority needs that were identified for this funding were shelter facilities that are low barrier 24/7 and open to a variety of household structures and identities, supportive services to build and maintain stability for vulnerable populations, as well as increased access to affordable housing that is quality, safe, accessible, and stable. Based on all of that, we have the following recommended budget for the HOMARP funding. That all of the categories listed here are as the mayor listed, are the spending categories described by HUD that total up to the $2.97 million that we were allocated. In the next few slides, we'll address each of these spending categories individually. The allocation plan is proposing $1 million go toward supportive services, which cover a wide range of eligible expenses, including childcare and transportation, case management and counseling, as well as some financial assistance like short and medium term rental assistance. The next category is non-congregate shelter, for which we are proposing $400,000 be allocated. So this is private units or rooms as temporary homeless shelter facilities where no lease or occupancy agreement is required. And these funds can be used to either construct new facilities or acquire or rehabilitate existing facilities. For example, purchasing a hotel or motel to use it for this purpose. The next HUD category is tenant-based rental assistance, which we are not proposing that these funds will be spent on. And in a few slides, we'll kind of provide the rationale for this decision. The last kind of programming category is affordable housing that we are proposing to allocate $1 million to, which is either acquiring or rehabilitating existing facilities or constructing new facilities to be used for affordable rental housing. And these can be used to acquire, rehabilitate, or construct, as well as the ongoing operating expenses for these facilities. So in addition to those kind of 4 programming areas, there are kind of operating and administration areas that HUD laid out. The first of those is nonprofit operating expenses that we are proposing $148,000 go to. These are kind of the ongoing expenses of the organizations that use these funds for the allocated programming. So that can be salaries, benefits, facility costs, insurance, or other costs. We're also recommending $148,000 toward capacity building for the organizations that receive these funds. So that can be salaries to bring in new employees for the funded programming, as well as training, improving equipment, or getting technical assistance or consultants to assist with the HOMARP programs. And then finally is administration and programming of the HOMARP funds themselves, for which we are proposing $273,000. So this is overall management of the HOMARP program that includes the costs to create the allocation plan itself, the costs of kind of creating the process for soliciting proposals and judging those and distributing the funds, as well as kind of ongoing reporting costs. So with all of those costs described, we wanted to include a few points about why these allocations were determined. The first point I have here is that investing in facilities and supportive services will allow us to kind of better address the underlying issues for homeless and at-risk populations in our community, being able to serve the distinct needs of the various populations eligible for this funding and building on existing service infrastructure. In addition, the HOMARP funds have greater flexibility than the standard home allocation that the Home Consortium receives every year. So we want to take advantage of that flexibility to fund activities that wouldn't normally be eligible, including non-congregate shelter and supportive services. So that was one reason for not including tenant-based rental assistance in this proposal, is that those funds, that normal HUD fund or normal home funds, can be spent on that, and we wanted to prioritize activities that wouldn't be eligible otherwise. In addition, in the consultation process, there were frequently brought up point was obstacles to actually using tenant-based rental assistance, including just the quality of private rental units in the community, as well as reluctance of landlords to rent to voucher holders. So that kind of limits the effectiveness of that assistance. And finally, the supportive services category that I mentioned earlier is a pretty broad category with a lot of qualifying programs. And some of the requests for rental assistance that we saw in the public feedback can be funded under that supportive services umbrella, so including short to medium term rental assistance, move-in assistance, landlord outreach and counseling. So some of those needs can be addressed through the supportive services funding as well. With all of that covered, I want to finish by talking about the recommended preferences that we discussed for this funding. The Home Consortium is recommending that households belonging to the homeless and at risk of homelessness qualified populations receive priority for the HomeARP funded programs, basically meeting the kind of immediate urgent needs of homeless populations and being able to intervene for at risk of homelessness populations to prevent them from sliding into homelessness. And what that would look like in the actual kind of program application and implementation is that each funded program using HomeARP funds would have its own specific application process that community members would apply for. Services would be provided on a first come, first served basis for qualified applicants, but individuals that qualify under the homeless and at risk of homelessness qualified populations would be moved to the top of that list and given that priority. Using this process where there's a kind of distinct application for each HomeARP program allows us to ensure that we're fully in compliance with HomeARP regulations and able to serve all of the qualifying population for HomeARP, including groups that might not be included in kind of existing programs in the community or existing referral networks in the community. So making sure that everyone that HUD has said qualifies for this funding is eligible to submit an application. So with that, I just wanted to provide a quick reminder of the kind of process that we are in for this funding. So currently we're in the public hearing process for the draft plan. The hope is that we will receive feedback for this and be able to implement any feedback and revisions that we need to develop the final allocation plan and develop that and submit it to HUD in August. And within 45 days of the submission, HUD will either provide us the authorization to allocate these funds, or will provide us guidance on how to revise the plan in order to fully be in compliance and be able to allocate those funds. So that was a quick summary of the kind of the contents of the plan and the process. And with that, I will turn it back over.
Okay, we are at the point for public input. If anyone wishes to comment during this public hearing, please step up to the microphone, state your name for the record, and you'll have up to 5 minutes. All right, seeing no one, we will adjourn this public hearing. Thank you.